Hey yogis who love tennis, this is a practice for after a match. It's going to loosen up the muscles that you used during your practice. All you'll need is your tennis racket and a good sense of humor. Let's get started. So to begin, grab your tennis racket, separate your feet so that your heels are a little bit further than hip width and your toes are pointing slightly out. Take your tennis racket in between your hands and lift your arms all the way up overhead. Then tilt to one side. I tend to go to the right first because that helps with digestion. So you're just opening up the side ribs. Really important to do here. Drop the tailbone and press through the heels, the center of your heel, each heel. Now from here, relax the neck a little bit more by drawing the chin back, as if someone was gently taking their index finger and just gently pushing your chin slightly back and slightly down. So that's going to relieve any tension in the neck as you begin to open up side body. One more breath here. Inhale. And exhale, come up through center, lift and lengthen upward, and then let's go to the other side. And notice how it'll be different on each side, especially after playing a game that has an asymmetrical component to it. A lot of people are right-handed, and so when they play tennis, they're using obviously both sides of their back, but you're emphasizing more on the right side. That's where the pressure of the ball hits the racket and then up into your arm. So as you tilt to the left, you might feel a little more grizzle, for lack of a better word, in the right side, and that's okay. Breathe here. Exhale, tailbones down, press a little more heavily through the right heel, because as you tip to the left, your right heel is going to want to lift up. Don't let it. And then come back through center. Lift the tennis racket even higher into the air and then slightly back behind you. And this is a deep stretch for the deltoids, the top of the shoulder, allowing there to be a little more energy into the upper chest. Now drop the lower ribs down slightly, and in this way you can emphasize the lift in the upper thoracic. That part gets stuck in a lot of us. C7 gets stuck right next to T1, so this is a way to help lengthen and release, and we'll do a little more in that department in a moment. Take one more breath. Inhale and then exhale as you lower the tennis racket down. Now bring your feet in so they're hip width distance, bend into the left knee, and turn slightly to the right. So bring your left hand on top of the right frontal hip bone. You can take your tennis racket behind you if you like. Externally rotate the right shoulder as you begin to twist gently to the right. So with the left knee slightly bent, you're allowing the SI joint to move in a very natural way. So this is nice. It can relieve the low back a little bit. And you're also opening up even more now laterally through the intercostals. On the right side, the right ribs begin to spin. Maybe you look over your right shoulder and breathe here for 3. Same action, tailbones heavy. In and out through the nose. 2. Last one, inhale. And then unwind it, come back through center, lift the tennis racket up and over your head now. So you're still holding onto that left frontal hip bone and you're reaching the tennis racket, bicep over the ear. One more breath, inhale. You can spin slightly to the right as you exhale, and then, whoa, and then bring it down. Look out for the ceiling, geez. All right, you're probably outside, which is great. Let's go to the other side. So here you're gonna bend the right knee, take your right hand, put it on top of the left frontal hip bone, and then begin to turn towards the left. Again, you can take that tennis racket around you, and that's really lovely, you guys, because this is gonna create an external rotation through that left shoulder. And go with what's, feels like ease. In yoga, they talk about sukha and sthira. So you want to feel like an ease. You don't want it to be suffering. You want it to be something that feels like a stretch, but it's not too much. Good, and breathe into it. The right knee is slightly bent. The hips are stable. but the right hip is coming slightly forward, and you're continuing to turn to the left. Feel where that is in your body. Inhale. Now we're going to unwind it, come back through center. Look out for chandeliers. Lift the racket over your head. Keep that right hand on your hip and reach. So now you're stretching the opposite. You're allowing the left arm to stretch open. And this will help you when you go do your serves on your next match, because you're releasing those muscles that constrict and get to contract, which is important because we're laying down muscle fiber, but we also want to give our body that chance to let go. All right, one more breath here. And then slowly come back up through center. You could drop the tennis racket down for this next one. Interlace your hands behind you. Here you're separating your feet about 3 to 4 feet in between them, and your heels are out in this one. So the first one we had the heels turning inward and toes out. For this variation, Prasarita Padottanasana, your toes are pointing in. Inhale, lift the chest up to the ceiling. At the same time, you're drawing the lower ribs towards one another. Feel how that stretches open through the shoulders, then bend into your knees and come forward just halfway down. So you want to feel that the pelvis is over the top of the thighs. You can keep your knees bent here. You can straighten them to your degree, but if straightening them pulls your low back into rounding position, like it drops under, then you want to keep your knees bent. And that way you get this gorgeous stretch without compromising your body. So you can stay here as such, or you can drop your hands to block, or even to the tennis racket. If that feels okay, you can place the racket on the floor and move it over out in front of you. So push through the outer edges of each foot. Really nail it down through your heels. Your sitting bones move back and up, and the neck can be in line with the entire spine. In other words, you don't have to drop your head down. If you do choose to drop your head down, that's fine. You may not need the tennis racket in that case if your hands are on the floor or a block, and then you're going to drop the head down if that feels good for you. Just 5 breaths here. This is releasing the low back, letting it go. Letting the head go if you're in the forward fold with the head down. One more here, inhale. And exhale, bend into knees, hands find those hip bones again. Come on up to standing, really good. So here, feet are hip width distance. To begin, get taller, let your spine lengthen. And then you're gonna stand, so we're gonna move into balancing. You're gonna stand on the left foot, take the right knee up and over. So the right ankle goes past the left knee, the right knee opens out, and then hands can be at your heart center, a little more challenging, or alongside you the way a skier might use their poles when they're skiing. So that will help you with balance. What else helps with balance is keeping the core engaged, telling yourself to lift and get taller, and then finding one place to land your eyes. Then soften your gaze and breathe for 5. This is beautiful. Opening of the piriformis. 4. Stay with you now. 3, 2, and 1. Come on up to standing. Very nicely done. Let's swap it over. So right foot stays down, left one comes up, and then left ankle past the right knee bends. So you're pulling the hip complex back, and you can work with balance. And that's what I meant by a good sense of humor. Like, you want to find an opportunity where you can kind of be light with yourself. Lila in Sanskrit, that lightness, just peeling back so that that shin pulls back. So the right knee is not going past the right ankle. And if that's too, challenging or untenable for whatever reason, lift the hips up a little more, and that will help you align that knee. And then over time, you can drop it back down. 2 more breaths here. Relaxing through the shoulders, pressing the shoulder blades in. Last big breath, inhale. Very good. Come on up to standing. Let's shake that out. We're going to stand again on the left foot and then lift the right knee back behind you. You can, if you have a yoga strap, you can take hold of the outer part of the right foot, or if you can reach it. Now, if you don't have a yoga strap and what you have is a towel that you're using for tennis, lasso that right foot. Pull it back so that you're actually opening through the quadriceps here. So pull it back, reach it back a little bit, and lengthen the chest upward. Open through that right shoulder. So if you notice, most of these poses are complex in that you're working both shoulder and quadricep, right? And in other cases, piriformis and opening through the chest with the arms down. 2 more breaths. Tailbone's heavy. Last one, inhale. And exhale, we're going to swap that over. So drop the right foot down, bend the left knee, take hold of the outer edge of the left foot, and we're lengthening upwards. Now there is a fair amount of balancing in this particular class, but that's on purpose. When you think about the bouncing that we do and the running on the tennis court, that's balance. So this is a way to continue to increase balance through practice. So you'll be even more sure-footed. Keep lengthening the chest upward and forward. And 3 more breaths here as the tailbone descends. Good, last one, inhale and exhale, nice. So let's drop the feet now about a little wider than before, and here your toes can point out. You're gonna bend into the right knee, send your tailbone back, but pitch your heart forward. So you get this little bit of traction. Now dropping your weight into that left leg so that you can stretch open through that inner adductor. For 3, 2, and 1. Come up through center and swap sides. So now the left knee is bending, the right shoulder pitches forward a little bit, the neck is in line with the spine. Two more big breaths. Releasing through the soles of the feet, even if you're in shoes. And then come back up through center. Now, bend into both knees. So knees are out. Drop that left shoulder down towards the floor and the external rotation through the right shoulder. So the right elbow is bent, the left elbow is straight but not locked out. And you're reaching towards the right. See if you can feel that through the iliopsoas here on the left side and also through the left inner adductor. For 3, all the while you're opening the right shoulder. It's a fantastic pose. 2 and 1. We're going to just swap it over and reaching the right shoulder down, pressing the right hand into the right quadricep so it stretches open, and then bend into that left elbow as you externally rotate through the left shoulder. It's a gentle external rotation, but it is a fantastic pose. For 3, 2, and 1. Come on up to standing. Really nice, you guys. Feet together, both arms up to the ceiling. Inhale, lengthen, look up, and exhale. Awesome work. Thank you so much for practicing.